Good afternoon, good morning, happy Wednesday, happy hump day. This is the Spartan on Spartan News. It's Wednesday, September 27th. This is my second attempt at recording this. If you have a couple of dogs in the house and people walking around, then you get lots of retakes. So hopefully this one's better than the first, but you won't know that, will you? So this one definitely is better than the first. All right, so just to start off with, we're going to cover off the last 24 hours worth of losses for the Russian military defense. Then we're going to take a look at a video that just came out showing the WAGNER Illusion 27 in Mali when it crashed. And then we'll cover off some updates, tidbits, news items, whatever to get you through the day. So just to get started, over the last 24 hours, the Russians lost 320 men, no longer participating in the 3-day special military operation, which has gone a little bit over by my count. It's day 581, so 578 days later than planned. 3 tanks were lost, kind of on the low side. 4 APVs, definitely on the low side. Armored personnel vehicles, armored personnel carriers, that sort of thing. IFVs, they come in waves, and it just seems like I don't know if the Russians are sort of running out of them, or because of the fact they're hunkered down, not transporting a lot of troops. Maybe they've gone to the rear, and I don't know. But it's kind of odd. It's you can't really trace why everything goes up or down. When you see UAVs, drones, they're pretty easy to track. Personnel losses, if the Russians are attacking, for example, you can kind of track that. But tanks, I think they're really hiding them and trying to be careful with them because they don't have many left. Armored personnel carriers, I truly think it is they're running out of them and or not using them when they are just basically hunkered down in trenches and not really advancing anywhere. So that's my guess. But anyways, 38 artillery systems, which is on the high side. It's one of the top. I think 45 was the record, so it's near the top. Still a focus, obviously. 1 anti-aircraft warfare system. I wasn't able to figure out which one what that was. I didn't come across any video clips or anything like that stating which what it was. Be nice if it was an S300, S400, but I'm sure we would have heard about it if it was a doozy. So maybe it was a book or something like that. And 24 drones were shot down yesterday. And if you can figure out something else that's different on this chart that I put out on a daily basis, let me know. Drop it in the chat, whatever. And congratulations, Russia, you've now exceeded $88 billion in losses for your military campaign. Pretty astounding. All right, so if you remember a couple of days ago, there was word that came out that an Illusion, did I say 27? It's 76. The Illusion 76 crashed. It's a very, very large plane used to transport anything from tanks to troops to gold and diamonds to you name it. They throw a radar dome on the top of it, and it turns into an AWAC sort of for the Russian military. And so Wagner is not having a great time in Mali. They've got local tribes that are coming after them and basically called it a safari. They're going on a hunt for them. And in addition, this plane, which was landing, and we still don't know if it was dropping anybody off, or dropping off supplies, flying empty, just by shuttling from one airport to the other. I don't know. But this was a Wagner designated plane. And you can see as it touches down. So first of all, I want to tell you right now, this thing is coming in hot. But that being said, you've got to come in at a good, half decent speed. You're thinking to yourself, this is a very, very large plane, like the size of a passenger jet. So there must be a long runway. I want you to see how little runway is left. So this pilot clearly overshoots. Normal touchdown, wheels look good. Thrusters are on right there, reverse thrusters, and here comes the end of the runway. And now it's off the runway. There's not a plane in the world like the Cessna with A Cessna would be nervous about that length of runway. So watch that again. Watch when it touches down, and then watch how many plane lengths right there. Watch how many plane lengths are left. 35, 40 plane lengths are left. Maybe, not even, 25. Before, boom, that's stuck. They're off the runway there. So I haven't seen a full view of this airport. This pilot clearly overshoots. So it wasn't quite Prigozhinist as far as taking down, mid-flight with explosion. Fuel going up. And then here are the sort of couple of after shots. There's the smoke there. There's the tail section there. And again, no update on. I want to see if anybody threw anything in here. Crew should have realized that they couldn't make it before touchdown. Yeah, this should have been they never should have touched down. I mean, and if they did, there should have been a touch and go, like basically land. Oh, we messed up and pull back up. So, anyways, yeah. Here's another image aerial. So you can see there's the runway where they came off that we talked about, and then there's not much as far as typically a good runway will have a soft sand pit that will kind of catch the wheels and really slow you down fast. This doesn't seem to have that. This seemed to be pretty hard packed ground shot across what looks to be a road and then into a ditch. Pretty much the worst way that you could set up the end of a runway to help planes that overshoot. This is basically a death trap. Like, to have a drop off like that at the end of your runway for a heavy plane, I mean, it's going to roll and it's going to burn. Anyways, so not the best airport safety in Mali. Moving on. So I put a short video out on this on the channel, but you wonder why Russian ammo production has maintained its pace and doing such a great job, and why the Russians complain on the front line about their ammo not working or not exploding. This might explain it. In order to have ammo explode, it actually has to have an explosive inside of it. C4, TNT, gunpowder, or something, some sort of an explosive. Let's see what the Russians are firing off. This Russian soldier decides to disassemble this, what looks like a heavy mortar shell, I think. It's hard to tell. It's got fins. It's fin stabilized, but I think it's a mortar shell. Anyways, so there's the fuse. This can be set up as contact, proximity, that sort of thing, the better fuses. And then he already took out the sort of fuse holding mechanism, whatever you want to call it, right? And in here you should see the explosives that the fuse is going to detonate. The fuse and the charge are going to detonate. It is empty. Now, I don't know how many shells showed up like that, but it is that Russian corruption, ineptitude, poor quality control. Who knows? But imagine the feeling of being a frontline soldier. You get your ammo, you pick it up, feels a little light, you take one apart, and there's no explosive in it. Like, how are you supposed to defend yourself, and how good do you feel about the logistics chain behind you? This is from about 18 hours ago, so maybe call it over a day ago. This is a photo showing a strong fire in Shelikovo near Moscow. Fire broke out in an industrial area west of the city. Now local residents write that the fire is almost extinguished. So there's the fire way off in the distance. This is part of the Moscow burning segment, and there's a closer picture, and great quality on that picture, by the way. Like, well done. Too bad they ruined it with the watermark, but so that's just part of the Moscow burning. Love memes and gifs. Okay, so this one, this is a different one. This is the building of the Sberbank Bank and the hotel courtyard are on fire in the center of Yeisk. So this is a Sberbank office, which is, I think, the second or third largest bank and oil. I think they bought up the oil companies too. Anyways. Just another day in Moscow, in Russia. Another angle of the fire. I think we haven't seen 1,000 times before. This one looks like it's further down the building. Yeah, the whole thing's engulfed.
Вот мне смс-ку прислали.
And there's the fire from a distance.
Напротив почты магазин горит.
So there you go, Moscow, Russia burning. Now I'm not going to go too deep into it because there's not a lot of sort of confirmation on strikes, but all in the northeast area of the occupied territories, there were dozens of Ukrainian drones striking or at least flying over Russian occupied territory and or Russian territory. I believe this is one of the Beaver drones. They kind of look like they're flying backwards when you see them up close.
Сижу, жду электричку. Полетел нахуй. Сижу, жду электричку.
There you go. Yeah, this is in Bryansk. There was dozens and dozens of drones, and I saw sort of maps sort of showing where the drones had kind of flown, but none of them. Other streamers have gone into it. You can follow somebody else, and they might show you. They can show you like where the drones were purported to have either struck or flown over, but I didn't see a lot of confirmation of them actually striking things. Some of them seem to be observing. Some of them seem to be on the way to striking. Some are kamikazes, but some are just basically ISR type drones. But I believe this one is the Beaver, which can be set up as a bit of a kamikaze drone, and it's got a pretty long distance. Oh no, don't do that. I hate when the screen blanks out. It makes me nervous that it's all going to shut down. Sorry. So Solikov, the Admiral of the Black Sea Fleet, or former Admiral of the Black Sea Fleet. So I reported a few days ago, 3 days ago, I think it is now, that the strike on the Black Sea Fleet took out 30 plus individuals in the headquarters in Sevastopol, and including the Admiral Solikov. So the Russians have been very quick to try to get videos out about Solikov on a Zoom call with Shoigu, as well as they all of a sudden busted out this video here, which I'm going to show you. So Russian media published an interview with Commander of the Black Sea Fleet, Viktor Nikolaevich Solikov, talking about the Black Sea Fleet operations. This is no reports. I still doubt he's alive, and there's no mentioning of the attack on Sevastopol to prove that this intel is wrong. So I'm going to play this video, and then I'm going to mention something to you. And by the way, yes, if your headquarters were just hit and you lost 30 plus people, probably that guy too. But if you lost 30 plus people, you might want to be mentioning it on the interview, and this was not dated and did not come up.
Поставил на командование перед ним, уверенно, успешно выполняя задачи и надводные силы, и подводные силы, и морская авиация, и береговые войска. Вы знаете, что...
Okay, so we'll leave it there, just because of the fact that I don't know what he's saying. It might be translated elsewhere. But the interesting thing here is this particular room. There are reports starting to fly around that this room is actually in the Sevastopol Black Sea headquarters building that was completely gutted to the ground and has already been disassembled, basically. This to me looks like a ballroom of a government or, a very grandiose type building. And that particular building with the pillars on the front of it kind of matches the description, at least from the outside. And on the inside, you can make the case that this interior, Victorian, kind of matches the exterior. But I haven't taken a deep dive down the rabbit hole on that. But there are reports online that this particular ballroom, whatever you want to call it, is actually a room inside the headquarters, which is now a flat pile of rubble. And this is the other Zoom call they busted out. Here's Weekend at Bernie's here. So Shoigu held a general meeting, supposedly. There's a couple things here. One, he's not moving much. That doesn't really mean anything. Two, 1 second Shoigu's got glasses on, then he's got the glasses off. And three, this particular snippet, first of all, this whole video could have been from, previously undisclosed, or this particular window could have been a cut and paste into a simple video edit to show that he's still kicking. But I would think that if I was the Russians and I wanted to make the Ukrainians look really bad, I'd have Solikov standing at a podium with that day's New York Times or whatever, and basically laughing at the Ukrainians and saying, I'm still alive, you didn't get me. Somehow they got 34 of his deputies and minister and command structure that all were in his office. But he was the one that lived. Oh, sorry, I meant to play that.
Военно-учебных центров. В прошлом году приступили к
So
работе
Shoigu's got no
16
glasses on,
таких.
now he's got glasses on. You see, not to say that he couldn't quickly flip them on, but there's no papers in his hand and no glasses
Министерство
on.
науки и высшего образования занимается созданием
Here,
военно-учебных
arms folded,
центров.
sitting back in his
В
chair,
прошлом году приступили к работе 16
and then boom, all of a sudden, arms are unfolded, glasses are on, papers up, and he looks like he's reading the page. Doesn't seem to
таких
jive.
подразделений, что позволило увеличить количество студентов, проходящих военную службу, почти на 2000. В наших планах открыть еще 8 центров. В итоге они будут представлены в 75 регионах нашей страны, а их общая численность достигнет 128
I'm gonna check something again. Just because
создание
I
военно-учебных
mean, it should be the same uniform every time.
центров. В прошлом году приступили к работе 16 таких подразделений,
Yeah.
что позволило службу которые имеют важное значение для формирования мобилизационного ресурса вооруженных сил.
Still
В
reading that
Южном
one.
военном округе в этом году будет реализовано свыше 170
And who knows, maybe the
организационных
first, maybe he
мероприятий. Войска
quickly threw on
получат
glasses and
5,5
picked up the
тысяч
paper.
единиц современного вооружения и техники. Завершится ввод в эксплуатацию более 500 объектов инфраструктуры. Ведется работа по комплектованию соединений воинских
A lot of
частей
movement there.
личным составом.
So there you go. Again, if you're looking to troll the Ukrainian intelligence services, etc., you're going to have Solikov saying something at some point specifically about how they missed them. So this came out from the Ukrainian. The Ukrainians responded to these reports. Update on the reported death of Viktor Solikov, the commander of the Russian Black Sea Fleet. Yesterday, the Ukrainian Special Operations Forces reported him as dead, and as a result, the Storm Shadow missile strike last week destroyed the Russian Black Sea Fleet headquarters in Sevastopol. Today, a photo has been published by the Russian of Solikov in a video meeting indicating that he may still be alive. In response, Ukrainian forces published this message: clarification of information regarding the death of the commander of the Russian Federation. And by the way, you'd never see this come out from the Russians, but here you go. This is from the Ukrainians. As is known, 34 officers were killed due to a missile strike on the headquarters of the Black Sea Fleet of the Russian Federation. Available sources claim that among the dead was the commander of the Russian Black Sea Fleet. Many still have not been identified due to the disparity of body fragments. 3 storm shadows hit your building. Stuff's not going to be the way it was beforehand. Since the Russians are urgently forced to publish a response with an apparently alive Solikov, our units are clarifying the information. This happens within the procedure for collecting data on the results of an operation. So they're basically saying, all right, we'll go back and take a second look. There's Weekend at Bernie's. I put out a photoshopped Weekend at Bernie's with Solikov there if you want to go find it. Kind of proud of my work. Along the same lines, to show what the Russians have kind of been up to lately, Russian officials have photoshopped a photo of an almost KIA soldier being awarded. So Russian soldier Artur Sultangaliev died the day before yesterday. He'd been seriously wounded the day before, and in order to give positive news, not just an obituary, the regional military commissariat photoshopped a photo of his award and spread the news in the local newspapers and administration press releases. So basically, this guy was wounded 2 days ago, died 2 days ago. Instead of posthumously awarding him this Russian medal, they photoshopped him standing here, and I can tell this is Photoshop just by looking at it, especially the feet. I wish they had zoomed down on this, but look at the hand and the medal and just wait till you see the next one. Does that look like he's standing in the room? That's such a horrible job. The borders, like there's AI software that'll capture this stuff. Everything is blurred and he's not there. Like it's white. He was standing in front of a white background and wherever you got this photo. And this is so bad. Right? Like the blurring, it's all pixelated. Everything is pixelated. Like they took this metal and photographed it, right? See the lines across the top of the sheet here? They photoshopped that out and dropped it in here into his hand to make it look like he was actually holding the metal that is over here. And this crazy line, whatever this is, continues on his hand and then down the side. And then this pixelated blurring is like almost like airbrushing somebody in. It is just, it's so bad. Like it's embarrassing. It's embarrassing. I did better yesterday with my Weekend at Solikov's picture than that. You wouldn't even be able to tell that I did it. So here's a bit of a troll. So they basically said, all right, if he's alive, then he's alive, from Luhansk, one of the Luhansk leaders. And there's Prigozhin looking pleased to see the medal ceremony. And then that is, oh God, what's, not Utkin, the Russian philosopher Nutbar. That's his daughter. Anyways, she's back. So that's great. Sorry. So anyways, the only person alive in this picture is this guy right here. Everybody else is pushing up the sunflowers, as they say. Here's another, I just love it. So that's Solikov, Kadyrov's right-hand man. Remember, the right-hand man was almost 100% confirmed to be KIA, and then Kadyrov started releasing some interesting videos trying to prove that he was still alive. Now he's supposed to be in a coma or whatever, and then they released some photos of somebody sitting next to a bed, kind of giving a eulogy. I'm not eulogy, you know, last rites, or just kissing a hand or whatever, and it was supposed to be Kadyrov, and so now there's Solikov. So here's the three amigos. It just cracks me up when people do that. I just love the creativity of people. Baffles my mind. Boggles my mind. Baffles me. I mix metaphors or mix sayings. So if you recall, I didn't break the story, but I think I was one of the first ones to basically stumble across kind of like the TikTok, the step-by-step of what happened, where the Ukrainians loaded up a drone with explosives, flew it close to a Russian airport, let the drone be taken over by electronic countermeasures. The Russians landed it at the airbase, and then everybody rushed out to get their photos with the trophy. So here's a little summary from United 24.
On September 24th, the Kalino airfield was hit by drones, which is located 4 miles from Kursk, Russia. The 14th Fighter Aviation Regiment is based there, and is armed with Su-30 SM aircraft, which regularly carry out terrorist attacks in Ukraine. Interestingly, the unidentified UAV was initially intercepted by Russian electronic warfare and safely landed on the runway. When the commander of the 14th Regiment, several pilots and FSB officers went to the trophy drone for inspection, there was a powerful explosion, a good present for Russian pilots on the day of Kursk.
So, and again, we're gonna wait for the the FSB to come out because of the fact that they haven't really come out with anything specific as far as a play-by-play. I think there's probably some OPSEC involved in there. Could run the gamut from like from somebody on the inside helping with this to just a new type of drone, electronic intelligence being gathered about drone capture capabilities at a certain airport or whatever. But you have to think that the Ukrainians, and maybe it was a fishing expedition, and maybe they put up 5 or 6 drones with explosives. Each of them could be remotely detonated, and they basically flew them around and dropped a couple on the airport, and then let one buzz around, hoping that it was going to get sort of captured. And there's no confirmation that it was actually electronically captured. For all we know, the Ukrainians just landed their drone at the airport. The Russians aren't exactly renowned for having anti-drone capture capability, those drone guns or whatever, all over the place, ready to go at a moment's notice. They have a bunch, but some, it's questionable some if they even work. But I could see the Ukrainians taking a Bayraktar and basically loading it up with explosives and having either a proximity fuse or a camera on board or whatever, and landing it at the airport, or pretending it was captured, landed at the airport, and have everything all locked inside, all the explosives locked inside, and then have everybody run out to say, hey, who got the Bayraktar? And everybody gathers around. They called in the FSB. They called other pilots over. Everybody came over to look. So it wasn't a Mavic 3. It was a good capture on the Russians' part, or a good find or whatever. And then when everybody was all gathered around to get their pictures taken, that sort of thing, the Ukrainians knew that it was happening clearly, because then they detonated it. So it was either remote detonation, proximity fuse, they had a camera on board, that sort of thing, whatever it was. But it's brilliant, and I'd love for Budanov's people to come out with a summary on how they actually accomplished that. This is a little less of an enjoyable story. This is basically Mariupol then and now, and this is what Russian liberation looks like to everybody. I hope I'm not going to get copyrighted, but I'm not going to mute it. The music should play. So there's Mariupol, beautiful. You saw the, sorry, I want to rewind that. I want to show you there's the Azovstal steel plant. You can't understand how, and it goes off the distance and way off to the horizon. This is a massive plant, and this is basically the last holdout. It was designed to withstand a nuclear blast. It's a good looking city. And now Russian television. It's the 9th of March, I think that's that. I can't necessarily, but that's what it looked like to me. Mariupol is Ukraine, and it will return. I agree. 100%. All the Russians do is just destroy, destroy, destroy. They take control of rubble, and then they call it liberation. I wanted to. This is both stories are together. What did I do here? I think I ended up. Yeah, so I'm going to duplicate something here. All right. Well, we'll cover that. We'll cover the Swiss one too at the same time. I'm actually going to do that first. So this is just a bit of a rant. I'm really not a fan of the Swiss. I understand that they've had neutrality in their constitution and in their DNA for ever, I think, since their inception or for hundreds of years, whatever. I get it. At the same time, don't have an arms industry. Do not ever have an arms industry, because you basically are setting a false premise that you're a supplier, you're an honest broker and a supplier of weapons and ammunition to people who may need them in a pinch. So basically, the Swiss purchased tanks. They actually got the license to provide the Gepards with ammunition. Lots of other weapon systems they either produce or have. And if you're a country and you want to buy ammunition off of them, they'll sell you all the ammunition that you can stomach if you're not fighting. All the tanks, all the anti-air, all the whatever you want. If they produce it or have it for sale, the Swiss will sell it to you. If you were in a war in the past and they're trying to rebuild, the Swiss will help you rebuild. They will sell you all the ammunition and tanks and military infrastructure to defend and or take out people and other countries in the future. They have no problem with that. Their one caveat is that if you are in a conflict at that moment, even if you're the one being invaded, they will no longer help you. So they were the only supplier of Gepard ammunition, and the Ukrainians were basically running out of Gepard ammunition, and the Swiss refused to sell it to them or sell it to anybody who would sell it to them. So the Swiss have Leopard 2s, Leopard 2 tanks. I don't know what version they are. 2A4s, I think they were. That looks like a 2A4 to me, or yeah, I think it's a 2A4. It's the 2A6s. You can see the turret sticks out really far because of all the extra contact armor. But anyways, so they basically approved the sale of 25 Leopard 2s to Germany, to the Rheinmetall Corporation, on the understanding that those would not be resold to Ukraine. They can resell them to anybody else who's not in a fight, but not to Ukraine. This is what they do. I don't get it. But anyways, hopefully hopefully there's a loophole in the contract where they can basically take these things apart and put them back together with different parts or something like that, and say, no, we're just selling parts to the Ukrainians or whatever. I can't see Rheinmetall buying these tanks and then turning around and not being able to use them. So they're either going to creatively somehow get these to Ukraine, or they're going to get them to somebody else, and those people are going to sell them to Ukraine. So for example, if Poland has 25 Leopard 2s that are currently in their service, Rheinmetall could then turn around and sell these Leopards to Poland. Poland sells their 25 Leopard 2s or gives their 25 Leopard 2s to Ukraine. That's probably the way it's going to work. It's a shell game. It's stupid. And as long as Switzerland can say, hey, we didn't supply anybody with weapons that they need. Just brilliant. But good for Rheinmetall. They really stepped up. The Germans have really stepped up, and the Swiss are the Swiss. Sorry. Oh yeah, the other thing that I wanted to cover off here, in the WTF category, the Russians are continuing to build a railway network, completing a land bridge from Russia all the way into Mariupol and beyond. Why they are considering trying to build a railway and continuing to build a railway right now is beyond me. From Staromyorsk, right? And here's Mariupol, right? Here's the railway that they're building, the rail connections. The Ukrainians have this under fire control already from long distance fire, and will have it under short distance fire control in the very near future. So yeah, keep on building your railway. That's absolutely brilliant. The Russian embassy in Denmark writes on Facebook that it will close its activities on September 27th, today. Their embassy has closed. There is no longer Oh, jeez, why did I do that? I took the risk of clicking on that. I should have clicked on that before. Anyways, there is no longer a Russian embassy in Denmark, which is fantastic. No need for it, and hopefully they continue to close embassies elsewhere. On a final note, this kind of reminded me of back to school. I couldn't decide which happy video, cute overload video to give you. So here's some penguins off to penguin school. Come on now. And where's your backpack, kid? Oh, it's around front. He's a hot mess. It's swung around front. Maybe it's like a man purse. A merce. And then last, if you guys know the movie Madagascar, you're always curious about when Melman met Gloria. Here you go. Now, I do not like seeing animals in cages, so I'm not cool with that. But at the same time, Melman, Gloria, very cute. First kiss? Is it gonna happen? First kiss. This guy's like, what's up? She ain't like us. Oh, okay, all right. All love is good. And the hippo, like, it's so cool. Anyways, that's it. There's your update. Please like, please subscribe, please share, comment. Have a great day. Slava Ukraini.